Well, the Land Bank recently concluded a bond auction to finance its activities. It was initially targeting 750 million rand, but received bids to the value of 5.1 billion. The Land Bank's CFO Bennie van Rooy joins us now. Bennie, thanks so much for your time today. I mean, you were targeting a billion, 5 times oversubscribed. Did that surprise you, given the current climate?
Obviously, pleasantly surprised. As a state-owned entity, you typically are very conservative when you approach the market with any bond auction, given the pressures that we face. I mean, it's a small observation, the story that ran earlier about KPMG and the response of the IOD.
Yeah.
It's inconceivable that the IOD will also suspend their activities or their co-branded activities with the other 3 professional services firms.
Yeah.
However, as a state-owned entity, when one state-owned entity is in trouble, you get found guilty by association.
Absolutely.
So, given all the recent news about state-owned entities, we were really pleasantly surprised and pleased with the outcome of the auction, and given the fact that we received wide support from investors, was also a very pleasing aspect of the auction.
Did you have to do a lot of work ahead of time, road shows, and explain your situation at all?
Our approach is to engage with investors constructively, proactively and continuously. And you will recall that roughly a year ago, the asset manager Future Growth made an announcement to stop lending to state-owned entities. And as an institution, we continued engaging with investors, trying to allay all their fears and concerns that they had. We've been on about 4 roadshows during the last 18 months to spread the good news story of the Land Bank, to convince investors that we have a strong financial results, a strong balance sheet, profitable, strong governance, high levels of corporate governance, and that's obviously paid dividends for us.
And you don't receive any financial subsidies from government, right? You have to raise your money through the capital.
We receive no direct funding from government. We from time to time receive guarantees, but only approximately 10% of our liability portfolio is government guaranteed. So we very much reliant on support from the banks and the capital and debt markets. And unless you can convince the asset managers that of the soundness of the business and the levels of corporate governance, you're unlikely to secure any support. So therefore it's been hard work, but it's also a result of strong financial results generated notwithstanding the tough agricultural environment. So that all played a part in the
that
success of the
was
auction.
where I was going to go. How are you managing this, particularly as we're just coming out of a drought?
Look, I think one has to separate the impact of the drought on the Land Bank's balance sheet and the impact on the South African economy as a whole. Okay. We manage a very specific portfolio in the agricultural sector. We've got very rigorous credit processes that when we originate loans, and we play an active part in managing the expectations of our clients, and also stay close to our clients to ensure that we've got a full understanding of the risks that they are facing, the circumstances that they operate in, and to ensure that we can maintain a quality loan book. So it's due to our credit processes. Also the fact that the bank is primarily a corporate bank, not so much a retail bank. And agricultural cooperatives and large agricultural businesses also behave slightly differently during adverse economic conditions.
Did you have to provide a lot of support to them at the time, given that, as you say, you don't operate like a traditional bank?
We had to. We've raised a 400 million rand facility that we raised from the IDC. That's a drought relief facility where we offer drought relief loans to clients at an interest rate of primarily 3%. So we've utilised the majority of that facility to support our customers and our client base. And so to a large extent, we also need to be prepared to carry non-performing loans for a longer period than commercial banks, because we are an unconditional supporter of the agricultural sector, and we have to support farmers through any agricultural cycle, whether it's good or bad weather conditions. But the strong relationship that we have has also enabled us to ensure that we can control and mitigate the risk in our loan book portfolio.
All right. So with the funding raised through this auction, what's your plan for that capital?
Look, there's obviously renewed optimism in the agricultural sector. We've seen 2 consecutive quarters of growth. You've run the story about the recent macroeconomic variables presented. The agricultural sector has had 2 strong quarters, obviously on the back of a very low base the previous year. But there's renewed optimism of growth that we can see in the sector. There are numerous opportunities for transformation type transactions that we can support. So we're confident that we'll experience growth in the upcoming season planting season, agricultural season in the traditional high-veld grain areas. And we expect loan book growth to continue at approximately 10% per annum. So the funding that we raised will be utilised to fund the working capital requirements of farmers and agricultural businesses during the next planting season.
It must have been quite pleasing also that you attracted new investors as well with this auction.
New investors and specifically investors that supported the Land Bank 2-3 years ago. And have now again expressed appetite for our paper. That was very pleasing. It was a really wide investor base, more than 20 asset managers participating in the auction. So wide support across the 3 tenures that we offered, 1 year, 3 years and 5 years. So it's very pleasing, and it shows a strong support to the institution, but also that the hard work that we've done and the levels of corporate governance that we maintain, those positives are all paying dividends for us at this stage.
We'll leave it there. Thanks for your
Thank you very
time.
much.
Today, CFO at the Land Bank of South Africa, Bennie van Rooy. Now, MPs visiting water treatment plants in Gauteng